Dismantling Stereotypes. It is about the 1988 movie Rain Man. So, Rain Man 1988, to give a quick synopsis, is essentially about a man named Charlie Babbitt, played by Tom Cruise, who is a car salesman. And essentially, he finds out that his father had passed away and that his $3 million inheritance is going to his long lost, I guess you could say, brother, Raymond, played by Dustin Hoffman. Raymond, at the time when Charlie learns about him, is living in a mental institution as an autistic savant. Charlie goes to find his brother, and Raymond agrees to go with them, and Charlie and him go on a cross-country road trip to Los Angeles, where Charlie discovers that Raymond has extraordinary memory and calculation ability, and thus Charlie exploits Raymond's card counting skills in Las Vegas to win enormous amounts of money. Furthermore, the portrayal of disability in this movie is that Raymond has autism spectrum disorder, and some of the key traits of that is a photographic memory. Raymond has an incredible photographic memory. He's able to recall things that he's seen from many years ago, including stuff like baseball statistics from years past. He's a mathematical genius, able to calculate large numbers rapidly. For instance, there was a scene in the movie when a stack of toothpicks fell down in a restaurant. He was able to count them correctly very rapidly. He also has a card counting ability, which he's able to use because of his photographic memory and his mathematical genius. He uses his card counting in blackjack, which is what helps his brother Charlie win an enormous sum of money. And his emotional traits are very similar to people with autism who don't have these savant abilities. You know, he has very rigid routines. He has social difficulties, talking with other people, including his brother and his girlfriend. And he has a problem struggling with expressing emotions. The psychosocial stigma of this movie is very big. The impact of this movie on the ASD community is that, savant abilities exist, but in a very small percentage of people with autism, and in 1998, this was the first movie to really humanize people with autism, featuring an autistic lead character. And the problem with that, however, is that it led to many people thinking that all people with autism have these talents. One key trait of this movie is the exploitation and treatment of Raymond. This matches what really goes on in society with people with disabilities in general, as many times they're dismissed until their abilities are seen as useful. In this movie, Charlie mistreats Raymond often, yelling at him, cursing at him for trivial things, minor things that Raymond does. However, the attitude shifts once Raymond's talents are possibly can earn Charlie money. And, this raises the issue of valuing autistic individuals for their exploitable skills and talents rather than the humanistic qualities they have. And I thought this Longmore quote from 2003 really summed up this part of the movie, because non-disabled people usually treat disabled people badly, like Charlie treated Raymond. And it's the responsibility of disabled individuals to educate them. And in this sense, to educate them is, Raymond educated his brother that, hey, I'm useful to you. I can make you money. And also, Raymond's seen as a means to an end. Charlie exploits Raymond's memory and math skills. And like I said, it reflects a broader societal issue, valuing people with disabilities for their utility and what they can do for you rather than the humanity. And Hazen Black had a great quote as well that, these films do not explore the disability itself. The disability only figures into the plot. And that's really what happened is, we just see Raymond and his savant abilities only as a furthering of the plot. We don't see his emotional, traits as much, which is what, most people with autism have, not these incredible abilities. The effect on individuals is pretty poignant. The impact varies based on whether you've had a contact with the ASD community. Autism was less understood and portrayed by Hollywood in 1988, and this film often reinforced negative stereotypes for those uninformed viewers. One positive aspect is it gave autism rare visibility in the mainstream media. It evoked empathy and awareness in the audience that watched it. And this representation could feel empowering for some autistic individuals. However, there are some negative aspects. The savant focus creates unrealistic expectations of autistic people. The lack of agency by Raymond it reinforces stigma of dependency and institutionalization. And a lack of diversity, among Raymond's abilities also make it seem like he's only capable of having savant abilities, so furthermore, I thought the Block 2020 quote, the first bullet point about, disabled people being seen as superhumans, which distorts reality, is very true, because in this movie, the abilities Charlie's have is almost superhuman. This movie taught me a lot. Given that I work in an autism intensive learning center, none of the kids that I work with display these levels like Raymond of abilities. And, I knew from what I've heard about the movie, it was not an accurate portrayal for most of the autism community. And it reinforced harmful stereotypes that students' worth is not defined by skills or abilities. And lastly, these are my references.